WASPI women are making waves, and 2024 is set to be a crucial year for the campaign that's been building up steam for years. If you're unfamiliar with the term, WASPI stands for Women Against State Pension Inequality, a group of women whose lives were turned upside down when the UK government raised the state pension age from 60 to 65 without giving them proper notice. These women, who planned their retirements based on previous pension age guidelines, suddenly found themselves facing years of financial uncertainty. Now, after years of fighting for justice, the movement is closer than ever to securing fair compensation for the WASPI generation. The pressure is mounting on the government to make things right, with a petition that's rapidly gaining momentum, nearly 130,000 signatures at the time of writing. That's not all. Senior politicians from across the political spectrum are rallying behind the cause, urging the government to act before the year is out. It's a compelling argument, too. If the government can compensate victims of the infected blood and post office scandals, why are the WASPI women being left behind? Campaigners have already seen a victory with the Parliamentary and Health Service Ombudsman's report, which backs compensation payouts of up to £10,000 for those impacted. But there's still a long way to go. Will the government finally listen? The momentum is undeniable, and these women are not backing down. If you're one of the thousands who has been affected, or if you want to learn more about how this campaign is pushing for change, keep watching. This is a movement that's making history, and the time to act is now. Don't miss out on the latest updates. This battle for justice is far from over. As we move forward into 2024, the WASPI campaign is gaining momentum like never before. The voices of the women who have been impacted by the sudden and unfair increase in the state pension age are louder, clearer, and stronger. Their message is simple: justice needs to be served, and fair compensation must be provided to those who've spent years planning for a retirement that was suddenly delayed without warning. The Women Against State Pension Inequality movement has been fighting for over a decade. These women, many of whom had already made life plans based on their expected pension age, were blindsided when the government raised the state pension age from 60 to 65 for women, aligning it with men's pension age. This change, which was introduced without sufficient notice, has thrown many women into financial disarray. They've faced years of financial hardship, delayed retirements, and, for many, a lifetime of hard work that hasn't been rewarded in the way they expected. One of the biggest problems with the pension age increase was the lack of communication. The government didn't adequately inform the affected women, leaving them completely unprepared for the change. In fact, many women only found out about the change when it was too late, when they were already facing financial strain, or when they had already made retirement plans that they now had to scramble to adjust. The emotional toll this has taken on them is immeasurable. These women were left feeling betrayed and forgotten by a system they thought they could trust. Now, after all these years of struggle, the WASPI campaign is closer than ever to achieving its goals. Thanks to tireless campaigning, petitioning, and advocacy, the issue has gained national attention. The petition calling for fair compensation for these women has reached nearly 130,000 signatures. That's an astonishing number, and it's only continuing to grow. More and more people are recognizing the injustice that has been done, and they are standing with the WASPI women in their fight for fair compensation. The momentum behind this campaign is undeniable, and it's forcing the government to take a serious look at the issue. But what exactly are these women asking for? What kind of compensation are they seeking? The answer lies in the report published by the Parliamentary and Health Service Ombudsman earlier this year. The report recommended that the government offer compensation ranging from £1,000 to £2,950 per woman, but some MPs are calling for payouts of £10,000 or more, pointing out that the scale of the injustice is far greater than initially realized. This isn't just about money, it's about fairness, about righting a wrong that has affected the lives of hundreds of thousands of women across the UK. Some of these women have had to delay their retirement for years, often facing added financial pressures as a result. Others have been forced to make difficult decisions about their future, all while feeling unsupported by the very system that they had trusted to support them in their later years. In many cases, the financial strain has caused stress, anxiety, and even health issues, with some women having to take on additional work to make ends meet. These aren't just numbers on a page, they are real people with real lives and real consequences. As the government faces increasing pressure to address the issue, the campaign is gaining traction among senior politicians. Recently, a letter was sent to the government, signed by leading figures from several major political parties. The letter calls for urgent action to resolve the issue before the Christmas recess, urging the government to update Parliament on its progress in responding to the Ombudsman's report. The letter emphasizes that justice must be delivered quickly, and that the WASPI women should not be left waiting any longer. It's clear that this campaign is far from over. In fact, it's only heating up. As more MPs, activists, and members of the public join the cause, the pressure on the government to take action will only intensify. The WASPI women have already waited far too long for justice, and now it's time for the government to step up and make things right. One of the reasons why this issue is so important is that it's not just about the WASPI women, it's about all of us. The state pension system is supposed to provide financial security for everyone in their later years, but when that system fails to notify people of major changes, it undermines the trust that people have in the system as a whole. If the government can make changes to the pension age without sufficient notice or communication, what else might it do in the future? This is a wake-up call to ensure that the state pension system is transparent, fair, and supportive of all citizens, regardless of gender. Moreover, the WASPI case raises important questions about how we treat our elderly and vulnerable populations. We know that the aging population in the UK is growing, and more people are relying on the state pension for their financial well-being. But what happens when the system doesn't deliver on its promises? How can people be expected to navigate these changes without proper information and support? These are the questions that the WASPI campaign is forcing us all to confront. At the heart of this movement is a deep sense of injustice. The WASPI women were unfairly treated, and their lives were disrupted in ways that were not their fault. They fought for years to get their voices heard, and now they are on the cusp of seeing justice done. The question is, will the government listen? Will they finally take responsibility for the mess they created and provide the compensation these women so desperately deserve? The pressure is mounting, and it's clear that the government will have to make a decision soon. If they want to avoid further public backlash and restore trust in the system, they'll need to act swiftly. The WASPI women are determined, and they are not going away. They are demanding what's rightfully theirs, and they are not going to back down until they get it. As we approach the final stages of this campaign, there's a palpable sense of hope among the WASPI women. They've been through so much, but they've never given up. They've fought tirelessly for fairness, and they've shown incredible resilience throughout the process. In the face of government inaction and indifference, they've continued to raise their voices and demand justice. And as we move into 2024, there's reason to believe that this is the year that the WASPI women will finally get the compensation they deserve. The campaign is picking up momentum, the pressure on the government is building, and the voices of the women who have been impacted are louder than ever. So, as we look ahead to the future, it's crucial that we support the WASPI campaign and stand with the women who have been impacted by these changes. Their fight is far from over, but with the growing momentum behind the movement, there's hope that 2024 will be the year that justice is finally served. The WASPI women have waited long enough, and now it's time for the government to take action. In the end, the outcome of this campaign will have far-reaching implications, not just for the WASPI women, but for everyone who relies on the state pension system. It will be a test of the government's commitment to fairness and accountability. Will they do the right thing? Or will they continue to ignore the voices of those who have been affected? The fight for justice continues, and the WASPI women are more determined than ever. So, if you're one of the millions who have been affected by the changes to the state pension age, or if you just want to learn more about this important issue, stay tuned. This is a story that's far from over, and it's a fight that's worth following every step of the way. The WASPI campaign has come a long way, and while there's still a road ahead, one thing is certain: the government can no longer ignore the voices of these women. Their fight is just getting started, and 2024 may just be the year that they win the compensation and justice they've been waiting for. So, keep your eyes on this movement and don't let the government forget about the WASPI women. Together, we can ensure that their voices are heard, and that they get the compensation they rightfully deserve. The fight for fairness is not over, and with your support, we can make sure that these women's stories don't go unheard. The future is now, and it's time to stand with the WASPI campaign for justice and equality.